Welcome home, brave heroes. I am Amalgam Ash, and this is HeroQuest. And today, I want to share with you BLOODQUEST, For the Blood is Life. For the Blood is Life is a campaign or expansion pack intended to be played with the HeroQuest game system, and is by Hanodalaran and Hero C. This was found on the Old Inn Facebook group, and I do not believe that there are any current printings going on as of the time of this video, because the creator has moved on to other works. But if you search the Old Inn on Facebook and find Hanodalaran, you can keep an eye on whether he is able to do future printings, and you can check out his current works. The expansion comes with this quest book, as well as a deck of cards, and access to a Google Drive where you can find all of the tiles that are intended to be used with this expansion. I kept myself from opening these cards until today so you could see my genuine reaction to the contents therein. But I just wanted to say the plastic on these was a real pain to get off. Hello, printing companies, if you are packaging cards, please put the little strip around the side so that we can rip off the strip and neatly take the cards out of their packages without having to use our own bloodsodes. I mean, ouch, talk about the blood is life. The first thing that I wanted to do that I just can't resist doing is comparing sizes. And I'll compare the size of the quest book. It is significantly smaller than an official quest book. Not to worry, all of the content that you would expect to be in a quest book is here, unhindered, untethered, unchained, ready to go, just a slightly different size. So this deck comes with a variety of different cards. We have these seemingly unnamed cards. These are actually the monster cards of the deck. The back doesn't have the traditional monster symbol, but rather a depiction of a vampire lady, a beautiful vampire woman. We have vampire spells instead of dread spells. So these are interesting because they're very specific to vampires. Only the characters in this campaign may possess vampire spells, and not necessarily dread spells, I would think then. We have artifacts, of course, a few of them, and we have some equipment. Then we just have the quest book. So let's dig in by first checking out the equipment cards, of which there are 3. We've got the whip, the silver whip, and the light of Solasban. The whip this is a very interesting weapon. I actually really like the idea of it. The whip allows you to roll 2 attack dice. You may attack enemies up to 2 squares away from you, diagonally and orthogonally. Roll 1 extra attack dice against skeletons. This may be used to attempt to jump pit traps. Roll 1 combat dice, and on a roll of a white shield, your whip loosens and you fall in. So a 33% chance to fall into a pit if you're using this to jump a pit trap. Better odds than if you're just jumping. This weapon, however, this is overpowered. I would try to get this as soon as possible. I would buy extras of it. If you could, it's only 500 gold coins. But the silver whip allows you to roll 3 attack dice. You can attack enemies up to 2 squares away, and you can roll 1 extra attack dice against werewolves, vampires, or ghouls. It's necessary to have every one of your heroes get one of these. I would say even the wizard, because although it says it can't be used by the wizard, you can still buy it, hang on to it in case your other heroes die. You need the extra whip to go around. And the light of Solasban. It's a vial of holy water, which can be shattered, creating a blinding magical light that reduces all evil creatures by 1 dice for 1 turn, their attack and defense. So really cool equipment cards. I missed that there is actually a treasure card with this expansion campaign quest book as well. You'll hear me use these terms interchangeably throughout the video and in my other videos. Sometimes I'll refer to a campaign or a series of quests or an adventure pack or an expansion pack, X pack. All of these things are interchangeably used on my channel to refer to these different offerings that are used in addition to a base game system. This is an expansion. It's also a campaign. Don't pay me any mind for using these different terms. But this card, which comes with this campaign, Prayer Scroll, for I will restore health to you. There is flavor text on the cards, which I actually really like. This prayer bestows a healing warmth on the caster or on any one hero the caster chooses. The prayer restores body points to the value of one roll of a d6. Starting points cannot be exceeded. Scroll crumbles to dust once used, and it doesn't have a price on it, so it's found. That's our only treasure card, the other one that I got. Equipment cards and treasure cards done. Let's take a quick look at the artifacts. We've got Dark Pain, the legendary whip of Simon Belmont. This is amazing, because it allows you to roll 2 attack dice in all directions, up to 2 squares away from you, including L-shaped attacks. So I wonder if you can go around corners with it. If you could literally, like if you're here and your enemy is here, 1, 2, you can attack them around that corner. It's an L-shaped attack. That's amazing. Up to 2 squares away, so you could actually 1, 2, yeah. I believe that is what they're saying here. You can roll 2 extra attack dice against skeletons. The Crucifix of Light, the Silver Knife, and the Holy Stake. The Silver Knife and the Holy Stake actually have similar usages. When you reduce a vampire's health to 0, the Holy Stake and the Knife allow you to try to either stake the vampire's heart or behead the vampire. You'll roll an attack dice, and you can kill the vampire if you roll well. But if you don't, he'll turn into a swarm of bats and retreat. So that tells us explicitly that there are enemies in this game that cannot be killed just because their body points are reduced to 0. Very, very interesting. We'll look at the vampire spells next. Again, very interesting choice to use that instead of, say, dread spells. Perhaps it's because they're all vampire themed. Cloud of Mist, Vampire Bat, Summon Wolves, Summon Rats, Summon Bats, Mesmerize with a picture of a beautiful vampire woman. Love that one. Fear, Dark Will, I'm here to do your bidding, master, and Blood Drain. And we have quotes in some of this flavor text. I think all of the flavor text actually is quotes from Carmilla and Dracula and some other public domain works. I want to take a look at these monster cards, and then we should dive right into the quest book. We have Swarm of Bats, and we can see that these thankfully come with a symbol that would be used on the map. So when you're going through your campaign book, you're going to see these symbols used on the maps, and you'll know that they refer to these monsters. We don't have any miniatures that come with this. There are actually miniatures made by Minis 3D. So Pablo over at Minis 3D has created miniatures specifically for this expansion, and you've even got like a thank you here on the inside of the book, and a shout out and a link to go find them. It does have a lot of monsters though, so unless you are planning on proxying using a ton of your other miniatures, you will need some new material. But yes, Swarm of Bats, Swarm of Rats, horrific picture. Death Knight, love the Death Knight, always love the idea of a Death Knight. Skeleton Warrior, Carmilla herself. We have bosses in this expansion. Lucy, lovely Lucy, who was unfortunately turned by Dracula in the book. Skeleton Spearman, which I love that. More skeletons, please. All the skeletons. Now, I'm going to butcher this character's name. Abhartak? I'm not sure how to say it. I don't know who he is. A wolf. Love that they're bringing in wolves. Count Dracula himself. Puka. Probably said that wrong as well. Another boss character, a named character. The Giant Spider. No thank you. A ghoul, a werewolf. I thought the werewolf could have been a little stronger, but I like werewolves, so, you know, that's why. The Skeleton Archer, yes please, perfectly done. The Man Bat, the Mimic. I know a lot of you HeroQuest homebrewers love your mimics. I don't have a mimic in my homebrew, but I know a lot of folks love the idea of the treasure chest betraying the heroes. A Swarm of Spiders, and Mina. Lovely Mina Tepes. I really like her map symbol. These enemy cards are wonderfully illustrated. Just a note on quality of the card, size and the like. This is an official card from one of the official either game system or expansions. I just pulled it out of my official box. Size is perfectly the same. Quality is almost exactly the same. You'll be able to tell when you're going to draw one of these cards because you've got some inconsistency in the coloration, But other than that, they're almost one-to-one images. Recreations on the back, there's a much more accurate recreation. A slight color difference between the border of the card from the official. And the official cards have a bit of a, you could see it, gridded-like appearance. It doesn't really reflect. The official cards have this sort of crosshatch texture, and these custom printed cards are smooth. So you've got a couple of subtle ways to tell your homebrew cards from your official cards, should you need to be able to tell the difference between them, separate them out after the expansion's done, or anything else like that. But I just thought it was interesting to compare qualities. An official artifact card versus the homebrew artifact card, they're very close. They're very, very close. You can spot the differences for sure in the color, and maybe there's just a slight difference in quality with the printing. After all, are you going to be able to print better than the source? I don't know, but you can get pretty damn close. You can get pretty damn close. So, anyway, on to the expansion itself. It is raining and thundering outside, and I can think of no more of a perfect setting for me to be reviewing BLOODQUEST in. So, on the first 2 pages, we have a lovely foreword and a note on difficulty, and then we have the page of monster icons and the shout out to Minis 3D, where you can get all of these icons printed and sent to you. And I want to read this intro from the Journal of Hano Dollar and Hero C, June 2023. This quest book has been an absolute labor of love by myself and my son. I've always been a huge fan of vampires. For the Blood is Life is an homage to many depictions of vampires. We drew chiefly upon Bram Stoker's Dracula, but also shared in Le Fanu's Carmilla, ancient myths and legends such as Apartach, and many other examples of vampire in media, which you may spot as Easter eggs peppered throughout this expansion pack. May you have as much fun playing this game as we did putting it together. Enjoy sinking your fangs into it. And a note on difficulty. It's recommended that For the Blood is Life is played with a group who have at least completed the base game. Many quests in For the Blood is Life can be completed without exploring the entire map. More seasoned adventurers may increase difficulty by Zargon's addition of a collapsing roof or two, forcing the group to traverse the entirety of the map. I think that's genius. Equally, the special abilities of the monsters are aimed at those looking for more of a challenge. Vampire's longevity can be increased by making a successful staking or decapitation dependent on rolling a skull. Some utterly bloodthirsty Zargons have even been known to utilize the evil wizard cards. That would be a separate offering. I actually just ordered the UK version of the Chaos deck for myself, so I can't wait to get that in the mail finally. We have a table on the special rules and abilities that explains every single one of the monster abilities and what special abilities each monster has. So you don't necessarily have to have the cards ready if you need a quick reference for the abilities. Special rules and abilities is continued on the second page. Climb walls, leadership. This climb walls, that's going to be a pain in the neck. Okay, and then we have the prologue. Now, I don't want to read the prologue in its entirety. I suppose you could pause the video on that frame if you wanted to read it, but just to kind of move through this and give you something to enjoy should you choose to get this pack. We've actually got 4 pages of lore and story, and on the next page, finally, is our quest. We've got our quest map for the first quest, the quest notes, the flavor text, the wandering monster specification. It is complete. It is ready to be played right now. And actually, this quest pack does use a lot of custom monsters, but it doesn't exclusively use custom monsters. There are plenty of monsters from the base game system that appear here. We've got mummies, we've got zombies, we've got regular skeletons, lots of undead. And how fitting is that? Now, for this first quest, we just need to proxy swarms of bats. If we don't have the miniatures and skeleton archers and ghouls, that shouldn't be a big problem. Here also in the room, which has the quest note B, we have a symbol that we have not encountered on the cards or anywhere in the first page explaining what all the symbols are. This is actually a villager according to the quest itself, so you'll need to proxy the villager as well unless you get the 3D models. I think that for the sake of completion, I might be somebody who needs to go get the 3D models, but I'm not quite sure yet. It depends on whether I can find a consistent group that want to play HeroQuest enough with me to finish this. We do have something pretty unique for quest books like this. We have lore in between quests, so we get actually 2 pages of this lore before we move on to the next quest, Journey to Solus Bon. The next quest is just as confined feeling as the first. Just from looking at the maps themselves, it looks like there is a feeling of confinement and dread, and the theme of vampires is just ever present, especially with all of the undead. It looks like you are expected to have a few things that I didn't see outlined just from the beginning bits of the book that I saw that aren't included with the base game system. This tile here is not included with the base game system. Moving on, Quest 3, Answers at the Monastery. This one has another quest symbol that is not defined in the beginning of the book. This is Bram Stoker, or Abbot Stoker, rather, according to the quest notes. It looks like in this quest we will actually face Mina as well as Carmilla. Quest 4 is actually Castle Belmont. I don't know how I feel about the Belmonts. That's not a public domain thing. That's an ongoing Konami-owned game franchise. That's a bit strange to see Belmonts there. The Catacombs of Castle Belmont is Quest 5. We're dependent on a bit of Belmontian lore. Evidently, the Village of the Damned. We have more symbols here. This time, we have, I'm not really sure what we've got going on here. I guess these are the tiles actually that are included on the Google Drive, which I haven't looked at yet, but I would imagine that these are the Google Drive tiles. They're just not explained in the quest notes, and that's fine. I imagine that's exactly where we get the villager tiles as well. We have barrels, which if you've been watching my homebrew video on barrels, you can have these barrels in 3D form, but the tiles for the barrels are in the quest note on the Google Drive as well. I would bet money, I would bet anything that that's exactly where they are. They have their own mechanic here, and they have to be destroyed. Well, they have to be moved, rather. I'm sorry. The barricade of barrels is unpassable until the heroes can gather more help, and how that help is gained can be found out by completing the quest, brave heroes. Quest 7 is Return to Solus Bon, and then Quest 8 is Dracula's Guests. It looks really, really cool. It really looks cool. We have keys that have to be collected. Quest 9 is called Vault of the Vampire, but I'm actually not even going to show it because I feel like I've spoiled enough. I tried to stay away from a lot of things like the actual showing of the quest notes and the like, but it's very clear that the creators of this had a lot of love for what it was that they were making. Anybody can get on and make quests, and they should, but to actually create a physical formatted product like this with artwork and text arranged, that is something that requires a serious level of dedication. That is something that really, really gets my curiosity going. What could make someone want to possibly make something like this, go that extra step, that next level, and create a quest pack in order for other people to share it and play it? Somebody who has a lot of passion for what they're doing, that's who. So that is my overview of BLOODQUEST. Perhaps we will be able to play some of the quests in this book right here on the channel. Let me know if you'd be interested in that. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Bye for now, brave heroes.